Hello, and thank you for joining me again here on Spoolin' Car Reviews. If you like the content you see in this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about what it's like a year into owning an Audi. I have a 2008 Audi A4. It's got the 2.0 turbo. If you didn't see my last video, there should be a link in the bottom of this video if you'd like to go check it out. So first off, if you don't work on your own vehicle, I strongly recommend you looking at something else. They are great cars to drive and own, and it's even fun to drive. Handles great and great gas mileage, but there's always little things that are breaking that are really expensive to repair if you're not doing it yourself. Even if you're doing it yourself, it's a headache, and you have to have a lot of special tools and such to do the maintenance on these cars. Some of the problems that I had was the cam follower. If you've owned one of these and you know the problem, it's very common. They say even some people replace them up every 10,000 miles because it rides right on the back of a cam lobe and it can destroy your cam and mess up your motor. I had a vacuum pump issue that I had to address. I had a coolant elbow that was broken and replaced a coolant temp sensor while I was in there. There's been just all these little things that have made the car not run the best, and I've had to, constantly be putting a little bit of money here and there and waiting on parts to come in because it's getting a little bit older now, so not a lot of people keep the parts on their shelf, including the Audi dealer that's in my town here. And so overall, I mean, it hasn't been that expensive to own, and the car only cost me about $4,000, but it's all the little miscellaneous that has went into this car. And I hit a turkey actually the other day, and that's where the driving light cover is gone. Got it on its way, but yet again nobody had it, so I've got to wait for it to come in the mail. But yeah, it's a great car, and it gets great gas mileage. I think right now I'm averaging 32 miles per gallon. I drive a lot of right off highways, so it's pretty straight shot and straightforward. But even if you're driving around town and stuff, when I was working in town, the car still got 27, 28. When I was driving it hard, as low as 25. But that's really not too bad. Luckily though, I have not had any transmission problems, because the transmission, I guess, in these can be very problematic, and I guess I could see that with having the paddles and the 7-speed in it. And I'm sure a transmission is probably pretty expensive to replace as well, and I'm not trying to put too much more money into this car. I would like to upgrade here sooner than later and get something a little bit nicer, and by nicer I mean faster, maybe a little bit newer. This is only an 08. I'd like to get at least something that's 2018 or so. But yeah, if you work on your own car and that kind of thing doesn't scare you, or you have a friend that works on cars that's willing to help you, it is a great car that you can pick up. They're getting really down there. You can pick them up $2,000 to $6,000 depending on the condition now. I've even seen them lower for $1,000 where I'm at, but they already have pre-existing problems that you'd have to address, and I wouldn't recommend buying an Audi that it's already got problems unless you know for sure you have the problem already narrowed down. But yeah, the parts, if you order them online, they're pretty cheap. Well, fairly cheap if you're used to American cars like I am. They're still pretty expensive, but overall it's not too bad. And especially if you've got the Quattro with the automatic, you can do a 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, which a lot of lower class sports cars are even competing in that range. Obviously not brand new ones, but for the era of this car. And I mean, the seats have held up quite nicely. Most of the interior is We did have a problem. There's these little stupid clips up here for the visor. They were broken when I got the car, and I'd ordered some in, and in the middle of me installing them, I'd broke it again. And before I could order them, the previous owner had contacted me and told me that, because I had asked him if he knew they were broken, and he said yes, there was some replacements in the trunk. I hadn't even thought to look, so I'd looked, and sure enough they were in there, so I just grabbed one of those and replaced it. But other than that, the interior has held up pretty nicely throughout my ownership. The back of the driver's seat was falling down when I got it, but that's nothing major. That's pretty expected. You know, some minor imperfections on the interior and exterior, and the car's got a couple of both for sure. But in my opinion, the 2008 Audi A4, and I believe it's 2005 all the way up to 2008, you can get the B7 platform like this one. I highly recommend it. I've had a B8 and it just wasn't as nice in my opinion, and I didn't like how it drove and performed, but I guess that's, you know, all your opinion. But you can pick these up for more like, you know, like I said, $2,000 to $6,000 all day long. Sometimes on the low for $1,000, or if you're at a dealership up to $8,000. But it's really not that expensive to own an Audi. And the parts, as I said, I mean, I've replaced quite a few decently serious maintenance items on the car that people are, you know, scared away from them because of these maintenance items. And it honestly, I've only got about $800 into the car. But in my opinion, it is a great, if you're looking for something that's cheap, affordable, and pretty sporty. Thank you for joining me again here on Spoolin' Car Reviews. Smash that subscribe button. Thanks. Bye.